pains me a little bit to sit here and look at my car. So many broken parts, so many bends, dings. Just recently noticed that the license plate frame is completely jacked up. I'll be honest, I don't know how that happened. I don't recall such a thing occurring. Welcome to the channel. What's going on? It has been a minute since we've worked on the Ratty 68. So we're out here in the garage right now, looking at this beautiful front end. If you're a Charger guy, you know what I'm talking about. And what we're looking at doing today is trying to sort out the vacuum operated headlight doors. Hello, there's my headlights. They do not currently work, and once you start seeing what I show you, you'll understand why. Perhaps the biggest reason: I hold in my hand the vacuum canister. That needs to be installed. What else we have going on? No manifold vacuum port. And just to add insult to injury, these are the vacuum hoses that go to the vacuum canister. So let's back it up just a little bit. As we've talked about over videos past, this Charger has had several different combinations in it, and several of which were a little bit rowdy. So they never really made enough vacuum, even to operate the power brakes. It always felt like a manual brake car with the previous motor, and obviously this one, we haven't tested it, right? We have no connection to the brake booster with a vacuum hose of any kind. Checklist. Let's do the mental checklist right here. Manifold vacuum. 2, we need to fix and install the vacuum canister. There's a bracket that actually attaches to this can, which honestly just looks like a can you'd buy at the grocery store, full of beans, perhaps. We need to get the bracket out. It's still attached in there, and I think honestly I left that in there so I didn't lose the bolts, lose the bracket. It was easier to hang onto the can. And also from a previous video, the can with other miscellaneous was just on the floor of the back seat. That was my storage for larger parts. We'll get those things going and we'll check back in. So I got the two bolts broke loose, and so now what I'm trying to do is go from the top. It's a little bit easier. We've got access to each bolt from either side of the battery. It's just a little bit easier than swinging a ratchet side to side in there. So that one appears to be loose. I'll get a magnet down in there in a moment. I'm going down to this side, and we'll bring the bracket up and show you that here in just a second. Here's the bracket. A coarse threaded bolt, almost a screw end there, into the frame. And this bracket has little kind of ears on it, I guess you could say, and it looks like those just clamp into the can. You can kind of see the marks where they used to be. So I need to reinstall this can on this bracket, but I think I'm going to clean this thing up a little bit. Not perfect. I'm not going for perfection on this one. As we've mentioned plenty of times in the past, there is restoration in this car's future. So for the time being, we're looking just to get functional. I'm not 100% sure if this was painted by the factory or somebody else did it. Obviously, whoever painted it, the factory or otherwise, did it with the bracket installed, as you can see the stripe of bare metal there. So I wanted to try and straighten this bracket out just a little bit more. And if there's a feller that could use a vise, it's this feller. So in the meantime, auto body tools. It doesn't need to go much. And then just a little tap, tap, taparoo on the soup can here. And now I just have to remember which way this came out. Set the can down there. Let's see how it fits. That should tell me pretty much everything I need to know. So yeah, that can fits between supports of the battery tray and can't go back any further than that, so I think we have our direction. Wouldn't mind seeing some original examples of these canisters either, guys, if you have any photos or information. Mostly as far as, you know, where they painted from the factory, where they bare. Try to do a little research, haven't really come to any conclusion just yet. But here we go, let's see what we can do here. We're gonna slide this end of the can into the fingers on the bracket. Try and line that up to where it was. And you can see somehow these got bent out of shape, allowing that can to separate from the bracket. So I found a really small hammer as one of my options. And that's what I was afraid was going to happen. Yeah, we've hammered them both off. We have nothing to attach to. Alright, well, plan A is a disaster. I will eventually have to probably try and weld some new tabs back on that, or maybe find a replacement bracket. In the meantime, I think I'm going to go the Ratty route, find some zip ties. So I probably have some zip ties somewhere. Well, I know I have zip ties, but the problem is I wanted to do some in black to at least blend in, right? But no such luck. Then I was going through the toolbox, found some worm clamps here, so plan C, I'll strap a couple of these on there. So no blending in today. Everyone's gonna know at that Concours restoration show that I did not use original equipment. Yeah, because that was what we were worried about. Man, this car is so far from that right now. There's a lot of original stuff on it, don't get me wrong. But there's obviously a lot of not original stuff on it as well. And here are two more pieces, two more examples. As long as I can hide the mechanism on the back side. Almost there, almost there. It's too bad these weren't a matching pair. This one's proving to be less than desirable. It's a lot longer than the other one. Okay. Can of beans is attached to the bracket. Now I'm going to go downstairs here and install this thing back under the battery. Did I mention that this is easier with the battery and battery tray out? This is a two-hand gig. I'm going to get that lined up and installed, and then we can get back on the camera. It's time for a new glove. But we've got the can bolted in place. It's beautiful worm clamps strapped around the bracket. And one thing that I neglected to mention is while I had things accessible, I attached the vacuum lines to the canister. And I do not know, honestly, if any of this stuff is original as far as the vacuum hoses and stuff. My guess would be probably not, because vacuum hoses typically don't last 54 years. But so we've got those hooked back up, and at this point we need to deal with the manifold vacuum port and get this hooked up. That was nice of me to just leave all the hoses in place when I took everything apart years ago. So I guess this is a good place to talk about this system. Right, so you see several hoses going inside the firewall of the car, 3 to be exact, through my worn out body plug. Those go to the switch. Obviously the on or off position of the switch indicate what happens to the actuators. So everything kind of starts here. Manifold vacuum, large hose running down to the vacuum canister, small hose running out of the canister and into the switch, and then 2 other switches coming off of there are attached to the on or off segment of the switch. So then you come all the way up here, pretend that you see the lines running under the battery and everything, and down into the headlight portion of the car. You'll see a couple of T's, little vacuum T's in there. One obviously running to one side of the actuator, the other running to the bottom, creating the open or close action based on the switch. And so then through that harness down there, part of the light harness, the vacuum hose is actually ran in there as well, doing the same thing. It's a pretty cool system, but yeah, you can't expect parts that hold vacuum like that to last for half of a century. I honestly wouldn't have any idea if those actuators are original. I've had the car since 1994 and they've never been changed. So as I alluded to before, I haven't really used the system in significant time because the car has been off the streets for about 15 years. I think the last tag expired in 07 or 08, at which point it was pretty much a drag car. But so step 1, canister is in, lines are hooked up. Now I have to find something to take this pipe plug out of the manifold to steal some vacuum, and hopefully the union I have, the T, will work. Now this is a factory one. This is probably the one off of the original engine of this car. So I guess this is a good spot for it. Just gonna test the fit right now, and if it's all good, yeah, that manifold's gonna make things a little difficult to tighten that in there with that T off of it. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's gonna try to rub on the manifold. So I'm gonna look at plan B, see about a different fitting. I don't have a great reason to get down here, contort myself into positions I don't understand. So I figured I'd just at least put the camera and the light down here, kind of follow the path in a little bit. There's the vacuum hoses. They route into there, and with any luck, you will see the switch and where those hoses attach to. I'm in no position to tell you if that's happening. I'll have to look after the fact. Alright, this is a struggle. You can see all of my chins if I do this. Alright. Back upright. So yes, hopefully we've gone over the system at least, so you kind of, if you've never seen that system before, you understand what's going on there. And earlier I had tried to use that original factory fitting basically was from the original 383 4-barrel manifold that was in this car. You'd put it down into the threads and try to turn the fitting, and the little dog leg fitting pipe off of that fitting wanted to rub against the manifold, and so I thought, oh well, we'll give it another college try. It just looked worse than it was. That is until you got the threads down a little bit deeper. That said, it is in. Let's go take a look. We did get the fitting in there, but yeah, as you tighten that up, that dog leg did rub against the intake manifold slightly, and so yeah, it was a little bit worrisome. I don't want to mess that up. So at this stage of the game, all of the parts and pieces are in place and plugged in to operate the headlight doors. Next step will be to fire this thing up. So you may recall from previous videos, I went to fire this car up and she gave me grief. She wouldn't start. She had fuel, she had spark, but something else is going on. I hope nothing crazy. More stuff to fix. It's a good thing I opened the headlight door. This thing's missing like all the screws except this guy and the one that's almost out. So that's cool. Anybody got any headlight trim screws for a 1968 Dodge Charger? Just a quick update on the headlight trim. 5 screw holes. I didn't check this guy, but these two seemingly stripped out for the original screws. Fantastic. There's another thing to add to the plan B list, but the center screw on the bottom and the lower screw on the left, both tightened down nice. Yay. Yeah. Man. Makes me want to check the other side. We did open this one up earlier. It is also missing screws. 3 out of 5. Huh. At least we're consistent. So I've been messing around with it, trying to get it to start. It will fire, so we've got spark. I'm gonna have to fill the bowls and start from there, see if it'll maintain it. One thing's for sure, I need to get a little bit better setup. Filling those bad boys up. Oh man, I think we'll do is set you up right here and you can tell me what happens. Something's just not happy here. There's still tons of gas coming out of the squirters. Okay. We got to dig in a little bit deeper. Something's crazy, but what I think we did find is that we had some success. So it doesn't take a whole lot. Get everything hooked back up. 50-year-old parts still want to work. The other thing I noticed, turn the switch on and there are no headlights. So looks like we have more work. More work. That's fine. It's an old car, that's what we get, right? Until it's all new again. Always something to be fixed. we need to go on another drive. Man, we gotta sort it out. Well, unfortunately, that will probably do it for this episode. The Ratty 68 thanks you. She asks for your patience. We'll figure something out. We got most of what we set out to do accomplished, that being getting the vacuum system hooked back up for the headlight doors. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it to run long enough to give a full test. We did get to see movement in the headlight doors. Anyway, progress. We'll dig a little bit deeper into the Ratty 68, see what's going on, why she won't run right. It is getting late in the season here. Mid-September, getting towards the end of September, and October it's going to turn cold. We probably won't have a whole lot of opportunity left to go driving her. So I'll be working on it. I'll be tinkering, seeing what I can figure out. Hopefully we'll have a drive before the season turns cold. In the meantime, stick around for a little bit more of this car, my 66 Plymouth Valiant. The Valiant Undertaking. We got to dig into a little bit of the rust issue on that, plus the Dart. We have a little fall racing coming up here in a few weeks. In the meantime, we shall bid you adieu. Thanks for watching. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much. If you're not, please consider becoming one. Also, don't forget to like and share with all your friends. Until the next one, we'll see you guys later.